Back with another Buckeye Talk quick reaction. I'm Nathan Baird from cleveland.com, here with Stephen Means and Doug Lesmerises. We're talking about the 62nd overall selection in the 2021 NFL Draft. It is Josh Myers to the Green Bay Packers. Doug, I can't remember now. Did you predict him to the Packers to replace Lindsley but it wasn't 62nd. It was much farther back.
It was 92nd. I had him in the third round instead of the second round, but I had him replacing Corey Lindsley in Green Bay, which is what he's going to do. Corey Lindsley, a 7-year starter in Green Bay, former Ohio State Senator, signed a big contract with the LA Chargers. He's gone. They don't have an obvious replacement there. Josh Myers becomes their obvious replacement. And now, will he be snapping to Aaron Rodgers or will he be snapping to Jordan Love? So good luck, Josh. Thrown into the Hornets' nest.
Probably both over the course of his career, I would assume, if he does this right.
I mean, to be fair, his first year being the starting center, it was a little fun for him for at least a little minute before the Justin Fields transfer was official. But I like this, and I kind of get it, right? You don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers at this point. And so let's just assume Aaron Rodgers is never going to play for the Packers again, and Jordan Love will be their starting quarterback. They're probably not going to throw it around as much as they did with Aaron Rodgers throughout the years. So why not go get a center who has plenty of reps at center, and at very least, he can run block his butt off. Right, that he's a violent run blocker, even if he still has to develop as a pass blocker. He has that part of it down, which if you're going to start running the ball a little bit more, if Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be around, that's a quality thing to have at center.
The Pete Werner pick kind of came out of nowhere. I thought this one, you could see it coming a little bit because I feel like there was a little bit of a run on interior linemen or offensive linemen as a whole that were happening. And Josh Myers' name had been one that had been floated out there. Talking to him and his family last week, they had no real grasp on where he might go. And it's a big deal for him to go in the second round. I mean, that's a team taking an interior offensive lineman even as early as the end of the second round, I think still says what kind of confidence they have in him and what they expect out of him and the esteem that they're putting in him, that they think he can come in right away and do what you're talking about, which is replace a Pro Bowl caliber player.
They did. I mean, there was a little, not a run. They went back-to-back centers. The center went right after Josh Myers, but he was the second center off the board behind Landon Dickerson from Alabama, who was like the best center in the country and got a lot of attention and went in the 30s. So listen, man, you're the second guy taken at your position in the draft. That's pretty good. Nathan, I think you've reported on this and you've been talking to them a lot, that if they had any hesitation, was Josh Myers making the right move by going into the draft and not staying at Ohio State for one more year? Clearly right. I think, he feels good about this. And they're probably not that Wyatt Davis or Baron Browning and those guys weren't going to come back because of a pandemic or whatever, right? But, Josh Myers has to like how this went down, goes to a winning team that has a job open for him. And if he has any questions, I assume all those Ohio State NFL guys have each other on speed dial. I'm sure Corey Lindsley can go over to the Myers house and hang out and tell him how to handle Green Bay, Wisconsin.
There are those guys who are in college to play football and they're just kind of passing through, and maybe they don't love the college experience. I get the impression that Josh Myers loves the college experience, probably going to class even and things like that, but certainly just he's an in-state guy. So being a part of Ohio State football, everything that his family gets to be involved in along with Ohio State football, they all just seem to love it. From my conversation with him, it was a very tough decision when he was having to make that choice between whether to stay or go. But the feedback that they got, I think, was so compelling. The wrinkle in there was the injury that he dealt with late in the season, the turf toe that led to a much worse injury, required surgery. He's still coming back from that. Last week when I talked to him, he had just started running again on his full body weight and couldn't do, anything that was too aerobic where he would have been bringing all that body weight down on the foot. So there's still some things to work out for him there, but just a guy that's this smart and this charismatic and this just having that kind of brute strength that he plays with, that aggression he plays with, I think he can probably get up to speed pretty quickly.
If he likes college, the NFL team you want to go to is Green Bay. That's the place that's most like playing for a college team. He gets to ride his bike at preseason camp with all the kids in town and live in a little village. And I bet you he'll like it. And I bet you his parents will be able to hop in the car and drive up and see him play.
And he gets to see Justin Fields twice a year.
Yeah, he does. He's a second center in his respective recruiting class, number 53 overall, second center taken in his draft class. And actually, I mean, second center taken, and Landon Dickerson might not even be playing center where he's headed. They were talking about he might just end up being a guard. He's got some versatility, move everywhere. It's very clear Josh Myers, who we talked about could play guard if he needed to, is going to be the Green Bay Packers center.
I mean, NFC North is actually kind of loaded with OSU talent right now, with Okudah and Jonah Jackson and the other offensive lineman whose name is escaping me right now, with the Lions and in Fields with the Bears
Taylor
now.
Decker.
So, Taylor Decker. Yes, I'm sorry. Just based on it completely in the moment. So, Stephen, what does it mean for recruiting potentially when guys have careers like this, where you see the development path, right? Like he talked about being kind of miffed that he didn't get to play a big role as a redshirt freshman. And then looking back on it, he realizes even then he wasn't ready. And it wasn't until these last 2 years that he had the breakthrough he did that pushes him now into being a second round pick.
It makes me think of Harry Miller. I mean, similar ranking. He was a number 2 center in his class. He was a 5-star, top 50 recruit, just like Josh Myers was. And if you think about it, the frustration of not playing in year 2, well, we saw why Harry Miller, we saw some of those struggles, and maybe if we projected on them, maybe we'd have seen some of those same struggles from Josh Myers had he been thrown out there in his second year in the program. So maybe this is the trajectory that we can start to put Harry Miller on, as a guy, similar ranking, maybe a similar talent level coming into his third year. Maybe he breaks out, but then he comes back for that fourth year. Well, he'll be a true senior because he didn't redshirt at all. And then here we are, second round, around the 60th pick. When you start to see centers come off the board, this is when you see a guy like Harry Miller come off the board. And you can maybe say the same thing with Luke Whippler later down the line.
And a much straighter path for Josh Myers than Corey Linsley. Corey Linsley was a 5th round pick, was supposed to be a backup. J.C. Treader got hurt in camp, and Corey Linsley took over the job and never gave it up. And then J.C. Treader ended up signing with the Browns, and Linsley took advantage of an opportunity. That was a little bit of a surprise. This is a plan. Josh Myers is going to slide right in.
We're going to be doing these all night from cleveland.com. Stay on our YouTube channel. We're going to have reaction to every Ohio State pick. I'm Nathan Baird for Doug Lesmerises, for Stephen Means. That was Buckeye Talk.